After reaching Myers, the three of them gets into an inn and takes some rest. While having breakfast, Ryu gets shocked to heard that Zed is taking all the gold bars they have. Ryu asked why he needs so 500 gold coins for. Zed tells him even this much is too enough. The elixir Zed is trying to make uses demon's breath infused with holy water, and the success rate depends entirely on the divine purity of that holy water. If it's low-grade holy water, even pouring in hundreds won't do a thing. The average price for one holy water is about 10 gold coins. Zed need roughly 50 bottles. The reason Zed has come to Myers because he trusts the priest here. As Zed is leaving, Ryu requests him to leave at least one gold bar. But Zed refused, saying that they still have some silver coin left. Before leaving, Zed tasked Ryu with finding a person. The person is Larock. He has got one eye and white hair. As the town has lots of white hair and one-eyed person, Zed tells Ryu to gather all of them, saying that money is involved. However, Larock is a fugitive and he won't show his face for a few measly coins. Ryu asked, how are they going to find him? Zed tells him to look for the people that will not attend the gathering. And he also advised Ryu not to call the name Larock, as he is currently hiding his name. Zed gets out with the briefcase. Initially, he was planning to buy magic tools with this money, but after hearing Larock's name, he changed his plan and decided to make the elixir. And after getting Larko on his side, he will commission him to make the magic tools. Zed has come in front of the church, but he sees a huge line in front of the church. Zed gets closer to see why there is a huge crowd. He asked a man about the reason they have gathered here. The man tells Zed that the church is selling holy water at half price, so everyone is here to get that. This is good for Zed, as now he can turn both demons' breaths into elixirs. But there's a catch. Holy water needs to be infused with divine power, so normally it's only made one bottle per day. With Johan's personality, not being hung up on money, half-price holy water's definitely possible. But this much of it when it takes a full day just to make one bottle, something's off. Zed stands in the line and waits for his turn. In the evening, he gets his chance to finally meet the priest John. Zed says hello to the father, but the father asks him how much bottle he needs. Zed gets the problem. He asked the priest. It must be exhausting, putting on an act all day. The priest smiles and asks what is he talking about. Zed slams his hand on the door and says, there's only one Father Johan in Myers Church, Johan Chris you faker. Where's the real Father Johan? Ha ha. I really don't know what you're talking about. I'm Johan. If you're not here for anything else, please leave. There are people waiting behind you. The priest says this while bringing the kinnif from his sleeve. At that time, the people behind starts to shout and tells them to hurry up. Zed asks the man if he really thinks he will get away with messing with a church. He threatens him, saying that he will report this to the provincial army immediately. Ha ha ha! The provincial army? Fine by me. If I've committed a crime, I'll gladly face the charges. The man says this and leans closer to Zed and whispers in his ear, so if you don't want to get hurt, scram. Stop getting in the way of busy people. After that, Zed returns from there. At home, he thinks that the provincial force is supporting the fraud priest, as he didn't even flinch at the mention of the Imperial Army. Zed starts to write something on a paper while thinking that the Imperial Central Army is strict, but provincial troops are a different story. They're more likely to be caught up in corruption in local cities. This might not be as easy as I thought. There's no proof of anything, so I'll have to check it out myself. He finished writing the letter and left it on the table and leaves. Zed goes to the provincial fortress. The guards there seize the white stallion and thinks that a person from Bahal has come. They salutes and asked why is he here. Zed tells them that he is here to file a report. He asked if the general is inside. The guards asked if he has make any appointment. Zed replies no. The guards tells him that he will have to make one and come back later. Zed asked if the general is that busy. No, it's just the general's policy. He never meets anyone without an appointment, the guards replies. Zed gets a bit serious and says, Aren't the provincial troops responsible for managing local affairs? You're telling me I need an appointment just to report something serious? The guards get scared and apologize, saying that they are just following orders. Zed gets that nothing good will happen, yelling at the guards. At that time, the general comes there. He asked Zed, who is he? Zed tells him that he has come to report something. The general ignores him and asked, "You don't look like one of Bahal's men. So why are you riding Bahal's white horse? Did you steal it?" Zed stays polite and says that he has received it as a gift. A gift? I've never heard of anyone gifting a white horse. What house are you with? You don't look like a knight, the general asked. Zed tells him that he is a mage from some no-name family. Hearing this, the general laughs and says, "A mage, not even a knight, got gifted Bahal's white horse? You think you can waltz in here and lie like that?" Zed replies, "It was an unusual circumstance. But more importantly, don't you think you should hear what I came to report? Right now, someone's selling fake holy water in Myers Church with a fake priest. As you know, holy water's incredibly valuable." As Zed says this, the general orders his army to arrest him immediately. The soldiers surrounded him quickly. The general gets down from the horse and orders to throw Zed in the dungeon and seize the white horse. "So you really are working together," Zed says. The general gives a frown look and says, "You'll regret ever opening your mouth, kid." After that, the soldiers capture Zed and takes him to the dungeon. Meanwhile, at the Bahal family, the patriarch tells Torres that the emperor has announced a grand reward. Torres asked if they house is at the top among the contributor. Fernando replies, yes. Among the imperial citizens rescued from slave traders, Bahal saved 3,720 people. Next was Arahan with 2,580. Fernando knows that the emperor always promotes balance and harmony between knights and mages, rarely encouraging competition like this. This means the emperor really did care about this mission. It's a meaningful achievement that Bahal played the leading role. Fernando tells Torres that he will be receiving the reward. And as it's a long trip, so don't waste time, start preparing. At that time, a knight comes and says, "My lord, a young boy's come to the estate asking to see you. We were going to send him away, but he claimed to be a friend of Lord Torres and Zed Arahan, so I came to confirm." Hearing this, Torres asked, "Is the boy's name Ryu?" The knight replies, "Yes." Torres tells that he knows him, but he wonders why Ryu has come here. Seeing the patriarch getting angry, Torres tells him not to worry and leave it to him. Fernando refused and tells the knight to bring him as Zed must have sent him. Torres gets confused. The patriarch frowns and says, "He said he had something to tell me. I should hear him out." As he says this, the letter falls, and we can see that the emperor has praised Zed Arahant. The throne commends Zed Arahan's service in aiding imperial citizens, regardless of their status. All noble houses are expected to follow this example. Ryu gets in front of Fernando and he bowed down without raising his head. Fernando asked him the purpose of his visit. Ryu hands over the letter Zed has written. Fernando opens it and gets shocked. The contents of the letter is, "A priest from Myers Cathedral, authority of the church, fake holy water being sold, using faith as a pretense to scam people, betrayers of their duties, defiant, tick. Even when warned, they remain. There's suspicion of collusion with the regional army, bribes involved." After reading this, Fernando gets that Zed wrote all this with the intent for him to see it. Fernando wonders if this is really the insight of a 15-year-old Vu. Ryu tells that he was worried something might have happened to Zed, that why he has quickly come to seek help. "You must have been terrified, but you still came here for your friend. That's a truly honorable thing to do," Fernando says. This. Ryu raises his head in confusion. Fernando gets up and says, "It's getting late. Go fetch something warm to eat. I'll write you a letter in the meantime, so relax and enjoy your meal." Hearing this, Ryu thanks the Lord. As the patriarch leaves, Ryu thinks that the knights are really amazing. Later, a maid brings him a burger. Ryu bites it, and tears of joy rolls from his eyes. On the other hand, in the dungeon, Zed is being tortured. He has been hanged upside down. However, despite in this extreme situation, he continues his training. The guard watching this thinks that he is a psycho. He starts to think that the tortured has fuck up his mind. At that time, General Pullman comes there. He asks the guard what Zed is doing. We're not really sure, but he's been like that this whole time. The previous shift worker said he was handed over the exact same way by the one before him. The guard says this. The general gets shocked to hear this. After that, the guards brought his down. The general tells Zed, depending on his answer, he might let him go or else the degree of torture will be increased. Pullman asked that the white horse won't listen to he. He asks Zed if he put some kind of spell on it. Zed replies, bullshit. A white steed only listens to the master it chooses. Pullman asked, how is he supposed to believe a knight's horse chose a damn mage? Zed smiles and says that he will see soon enough. This made Pullman angry. He removes his jewelers and says he will handle the torture now, as it seems the last round was too soft for him. Pullman grabs the knife and says he wonders how long Zed lasts, as nobody has even lasted more than 30 minutes before him. He gets closer to Zed and places the tip of the kinfei above Zed's knee. He tells Zed that he is giving him a last chance to talk. Zed laughs and says, screw off. Pullman shouts in anger, and he is about to stab the knife. At that instant, a guard comes rushing and stops the general. He tells Pullman that a letter has arrived from Bahal family. The general throws the knife at the guard out of anger and shouts, damn it! What's wrong with you? Didn't I say no interruptions during torture? Didn't I? The guard apologizes and tells him that this is an urgent matter. A letter has come direct from the head of Bahal family. Pullman grabs the letter and says, if there is nothing important, he better get ready to die. He opens the letter and reads. The letter says, the prisoner you've captured is the owner of the white steed, and a friend of Bahal, and a son of the Arahan family. As you are suspected of involvement in a corruption case, you are to lay down your command and stand by when the Central Army's investigation begins. After reading this, Pullman gets mad and tears the letter into pieces. Pullman's face turns red in anger. He looks at Zed and says, this was all your doing, wasn't it? That smug look. This 15 what you were waiting for, still not coming to your senses. Even if he's the head of Bahal, he can't just trample over a general in the Imperial Army. Zed smiles and says, he can. The justification is clear. Pullman takes the kinfei and says he will kill him and the fake priest, so there will be no evidence. Zed uses his lighting to burn the rope. He gets up to fight. But at that moment, a magic chain wraps around Pullman's leg. Everyone in the room, including Zed, gets confused to see this. Within a second, the chains turned Pullman into a mummy. Zed turns around and sees a shadow guard who was hiding among the soldiers. After that, more Shadow Guard member come in front of Zed and tells him that the head has ordered for him to return immediately. They tell Zed to follow as they will escort him safely. Zed asked why the sudden recall. That doesn't matter. Orders are orders, please hurry. Zed can't return, yet he still don't have the elixir. He also hasn't found Larko Cherville either. Zed tells them to just give him a few days. He will return on his own. The guards denied that and says they are only following the head's command. Zed needs some time, so to extend his stay, he says, you're Shadow Guard and you don't know Arahan's situation. Going now means my death. There's no way the head doesn't know that. Please convey my intentions to the head. I just need a little time to prepare if I'm going to survive the fallout. If he still wants me back after that, I'll come without a word. A Shadow Guard says that he understands and tells him to wait. Saying this, the guard vanishes. In the meantime, Zed thinks that the head of Arahan must have been tracking my every move through the Shadow Guard. The only real problems are killing the slaver Vito and going to the Bahal estate. Zed gets that he needs to prepare for questioning about them. After a while, the guards returns and says, "Young master, the head has agreed to give you time. Return to the family within 14 days. That's all you're getting." Zed now has 14 days in his hand, and the countdown starts now. Zed thinks that he has moved fast. The shadow guard tells him that the matter of Pullman and the Myers Cathedral has been left in Zed's hands, and an investigator will be arriving shortly. He tells Zed to handle it wisely. Zed gets surprised to hear that the investigator is coming so soon. Zed gets that this is the work of the shadow guard, and he gets terrified to see how influenced they are. Deep inside, he also wants to have this power. The guard also tells Zed that the head wishes for him to stop hiding the fact that he is of Arahan blood. What the hell does that mean? Wait, my lenses? You mean stop wearing them? Zed says. The guard replies that he got is correct. Zed asked why he has to reveal his identity now. That's all we were instructed to deliver. With that, we'll take our leave. Saying this, the shadow guards vanishes. 2 hours later, an Imperial investigator named Cox come to Myers. The old man sees Zed and praises him for exposing the corruption. He asked Zed that from which family he belongs to. He also says that the Emperor himself will surely commend his achievements. Zed removes his lenses, revealing his red eyes. He formally greets the old man and tells him that he is Zed Arahan, the 7th son of the Arahan family. Cox gets surprised and asked if he really is Zed Arahan. Zed replies yes. The old man laughs and says, "So the Arahan listed on the official decree was you." Zed wonders what an official decree is. Seeing his expression, Cox gets that Zed hasn't heard about the official decree. Cox takes out a piece of paper and shows it to Zed and says, "Your name was listed at the very end, in a decree written personally by His Majesty." Cox also shows Zed their palace has spoken very highly of him. He puts the decree aside and tells Zed he wanted to meet him, but now fate has brought them together. Zed is still confused. He asked, how does His Majesty know about him? The Emperor values conversation above status or rank. Apparently, a few of the people who were recently repatriated mentioned you, Cox replies. Hearing this, Zed remember Gordon, the old man he rescued, and who said that he will repay him. Zed then gets to work. He requests Cox that he wants to go to the cathedral alone and finish this work himself. Cox understands his determination and allows him to do the work alone. Zed bows down to thank the man. Seeing this, Cox laughs and says, "Arahan or not, you're the first one to thank me in a long while. Maybe I've lived too long. Take the Central Army unit that came with me. You're facing criminals who broke Imperial law. If they resist, you're authorized to execute them on the spot. If anything goes wrong, I'll take responsibility." Hearing this, Zed appreciates the generosity Cox has shown him. Cox taps Zed's shoulder and says he is so polite, not like the Arahans at all. Hearing this, Zed wonders if all the Arahans are lunatic. After that, Zed takes the Imperial Army and marches towards the cathedral. Zed stands in front of the door and shouts, "To the con artists who deceived Imperial citizens for their own gain. I'll count to 3. If you're not out by then, you die where you hide. Even after this, there is no sign of a single person." The army asked Zed if they should go and bring him out. "Weapons and mana can't be used inside an Imperial church, right? It's risky," Zed says. The army man says that it's tour, but they have no other option. They have to wait for the authorization permit. Zed tells them that he will handle it himself. The army man tries to stop him, but Zed tells them to wait here as he don't have much time. He will handle it himself. Saying this, Zed rushed towards the cathedral. Cox arrives there, and the army men asked him what Zed is planning as he can't use magic in the church. However, the problem is solved as Cox is there with the permit in his hand. Seeing this, the army wants to go inside and capture the criminal. Cox tells them to step down and says, When I gave Zed the command token, it was because I was entrusting this case to him. Command token. Golden token granting authority to command Imperial forces. The soldiers tried to convince Cox to give them true order to go in, as there may be armed force which can harm Zed. Zed breaks the door and gets inside. There are many people with knife in their hands, waiting to attack. In the meantime, Cox asked the soldiers, "Do you know why the Arahans are the top house? Why people fear them? They are stronger than the rest," the soldiers replies. Cox says, "Just because they're strong? No, there's something more important than that. An Arahan never goes back on their word. No matter what it takes, no matter how dirty, it gets done. That's what makes them terrifying." Zed gets inside and gives a deadly glare at the fake priest. He gets inside and closes the door. Beating sounds come from the cathedral. The soldiers are worried and insists to go in. After a while, the door opens. The soldiers get ready to fight. However, the criminals are subdued and were obediently following Zed. Zed gives a smile, and everyone cheers for him. They asked who he beat them without any mana or magic. Zed clenches his fist and says, "This wasn't that hard." Cox praises Zed and says that he is incredible. Zed tells Cox their crime, and Cox says that he will handle the rest. He then calls for the real Father Johann. Father Johann comes out, and people gets joyous seeing him unharmed. Father Johann then comes and heals the injured criminals. Everyone is surprised to see this level of kindness. The criminals apologize the father and says that they will never crime again. Johann then properly introduces him. He says that he is Johann Chris, the 49th priest of the Empire. Father Johann expresses his gratitude and asked Zed to come inside and have a cup of tea with him. As Zed is going, Cox stops him and tells him to come to him for a moment. Cox takes out a badge and says, "If you're okay with it, I'd like to give you this. The insignia of the investigator, the one that grants authority over Imperial forces. If Zed shows this anywhere in the Empire and they'll assist him, why give this to me?" "You don't even know how I'll use it," Zed asked. Cox says, "I trust you won't drag my name through the mud. Just promise me you'll only ever use that insignia for the Empire. If you ever use it for your own gain, then you'll have repaid my trust with betrayal." Zed takes the insignia and says that he understands and he will never let that happen. Cox then says Zed farewell and gets back to work. Then, both Zed and Father Johann gets inside and sits down to have a conversation with a cup of tea. Johann thanks Zed for saving him and tells him that Zed did something incredible. Meanwhile, Zed humbly accepts the praises. "So, is there something you desire from me?" Johann asks. Zed is amazed to see that Johann is wise and perceptive as he expected him to be. So he tells Johann honestly that he needs his holy water. Father explains that holy water is meant for healing the sick and fighting the evil and asks what's Zed intending to do with it. Zed replies that he needs it to craft magic items. He doesn't know if that counts as fighting evil, but at the very least. Zed mentions that it's to save his own life. Johann gets a little confused. Zed explains that he is an Arahant, but he was cast out because he can't wield mana. Now he has been ordered to return to his family. "Do you understand what that means?" Zed asks. Johann answers, saying yes, he has heard that the infighting among Zed's brothers is severe, but he is not sure whether some magic items will be able to save someone's life in this situation. Zed says that he just wants to do everything he possibly can to prepare, while thinking that right now, the maximum stat boost he can get from elixirs is 2. And if the skill Transcendence requires 5 magic stats, then for him with just 3, that's insanely valuable. Being able to use it freely versus only when he pushes himself, it's a world of difference. The priest mentions that he has heard rumors about Zed before, that he handled that notorious slave trader the Arahant used to oversee. So he thinks it was God's will that an Arahant came to Myers and helped protect the sanctum. Maybe even him helping Zed now is all part of God's plan. He gets up and brings a rusty old box while saying that he has been saving this for someone who truly needs it. He mentions that the potency of holy water depends on how much divine power it holds, and these were made over a long time, with every bit of strength he could muster. He hopes they will help Zed at least more than the normal holy water. Zed didn't think that Johann would give him something this precious. Moreover, the priest gives Zed a personal gift with all his blessings, and that ends their conversation. At an inn, Zed still can't believe that he got an item. He wanted so badly when he played this game. It's the priest's emblem, or in other words, a seal of approval from a priest. That might not sound like much, but in the world of Lacey, it holds tremendous power. The cathedral gained its current authority because the emperor poured resources into creating a morally upright empire. So the priest's seal is basically indirect imperial approval. With the priest's emblem, Zed will be safe from wanted notices and can't be arrested on sight. And more importantly, it means no one can arbitrarily kill him. This single emblem makes him much safer in the midst of the infighting. Johann must have understood that too. That's why he gave this to Zed. The Inquisitor's insignia and the priest's emblem. This is probably the best he could hope for before returning to his family. Anyone who wants to kill him now will have to take a huge risk, and wherever he goes, the Imperial Army can protect him. Just looking at it gives him peace of mind. Now, next up, Zed looks at the holy water. In the game, Johann's holy water only had a 20% success rate, but he said this was made with special care. Zed has got 3 bottles of holy water and 2 demon's breaths. He says that it'd be amazing if it worked on the first try. He decides to give it a shot first. Then if he fails, he will just try to get more. Luckily, he is able to pull it off in his first try. Without lingering, he drinks the portion, and his magic stats increases by 1. He then happily decides to go for the second, since Ha has 1 more demon's breath left. If he succeeds this second time around, he will still have 1 bottle of holy water left. Today, his luck is on his side because he also succeeded in his second try. He drinks it, and again his magic stats increase by 1. He now has a magic stats of 5, which he was aiming for from the beginning. He sees the message notifying him that a new magic is now available. Its transcendence, which greatly enhances the caster's physical abilities, grants shield effect proportional to magic stat. He is about to celebrate by jumping around, but he loses his balance and falls on the bed. Well, he feels totally drained right now because of all the tension and the nervousness he had bolted up, but now he is relieved. In fact, he is feeling more thrilled and fun than when he played the game. After some time, Zed, along with Ryu and his sibling, are heading out. Ryu informs that he looked into those scarred-eye, white-haired people he asked about. Turns out there are about 40 of them, and that's not as many as Ryu thought there would be. Additionally, he says that did the job just like Zed suggested. He offered them money and gathered them in one spot. Exactly 34 people showed up, so the one they are looking for has to be among the remaining 6. Do you have the location of those 6 people? Zed asks. Of course. Ryu says that just in case, he even wrote down the exact coordinates. He is pretty sure Zed will find them all by tomorrow. Zed praises Ryu by saying that he likes his style, and because of him, this'll make everything go way smoother. Ryu replies that he can handle way tougher and more complicated stuff too. Zed replies that he knows Ryu is capable, so he doesn't have to burden himself by proving himself every time. He says that he will take responsibility for Ryu and his sibling to the end. He also mentions that Ryu the first comrade he ever met. After hearing this, both of the siblings get emotions. At that moment, a girl recognizes Zed as an Arahant because of his red eyes. Do you know me? Zed asks. The girl replies that if someone in Myers doesn't know about Zed by now, they must be a spy. Because the young Arahant who punished a con man and protected Father Johann and the cathedral. The whole city is buzzing with this news. Zed now realizes that's why people were giving him weird looks. He thought it was because of his eyes, but turns out it was something else entirely. Everyone starts to gather up near Zed and shout saying thank you to Zed for protecting Myers Cathedral. Zed hints Ryu that they need to get out of here. As he is about to leave, he senses a strange energy. He notices that this is the person he has been looking for. It's Larko Cherville. Zed shouts, telling him to stop as he moves in the crowd. Unfortunately, he lost Larko. Zed asks for the location of the 6 places that Ryu mentioned. He decides to go to each place to look for Larko. At first, they searched for building number 203, but the person living inside the building is not Larko. Then, Zed asks for the second location as he jumps out of the window. He continuously kept searching, but he was not able to find Larko. The next location is in the basement level 1, left side room. Zed gets an ominous feeling, so he tells Ryu to go upstairs. He realizes that this might be a booby trap. He uses his lighting transformation before entering the room. As he opens the door, his lightning skill gets deactivated with the activation of his S-rated trait, Immortal Challengers. He witnesses the blue fire. Blue fire is a superior attribute of flame. Even regular fire would be difficult to achieve this level of explosive power with magic tools. But Larko created blue fire with just a booby trap. Is this even possible? Zed wonders. Because of the impact of the blue fire, everything was blown away. If it wasn't for Immortal Challenger this time, Zed would have died instantly. Immortal Challenger is literally a trait that ignores instant death damage. Zed knows it well since he used it often in the game, too. Simply put, with this trait, no one can one-shot kill him. Thinking that he has already been dead once gives him the motivation to find Larko no matter what. He is determined to make Larko his ally. After some time, they are having a conversation that might be blamed for the explosion, even though they were the victims. This is unfair? Why are we suspects? Ryu asks. Zed explains that they were the only ones at the scene. If they can't prove it was an explosion from a trap, they are perfect scapegoats. Plus, Arahant is a fire family, so it will make the incident look more convincing. Ryu suggests that they should escape before the Imperial Army arrives. Should I ask for help from the Bahal? He asks. Zed replies that getting involved with Bahal again will cause a commotion, because the Black Mirror reacted very sensitively last time too. As they are talking, the Imperial Army has already arrived, telling Zed Arahant to come out. The Myers local garrison General Madden orders his companions to restrain Zed immediately, but in the next moment he stops because he sees the priest's mark on Zed. Is that really a priest's mark? The general asks. Zed replies that it's a mark given by Father Johann of Myers Cathedral. The general introduces himself as Madden, who took office in Myers replacing General Pullman. He informs that there was a big explosion in town earlier, and Zed's name came up in witness statements. Zed replies that he was directly caught in that explosion. May I ask why you were there? Zed explains he was looking for someone and happened to enter, but there was a trap set up and got caught up in it. He was quite shocked too. Zed knows that because of the priest's mark, no matter how suspicious he is, no one can't treat him as a criminal carelessly. Maybe this could be a blessing in disguise? He thinks because having the local garrison's help would make finding the completely hidden Larko much easier. So, he asks for his help. The general replies, "The Imperial Army can't move for personal matters. They can't waste public authority without any justification." Then Zed shows the investigator's insignia for justification. How do you have that, Mr. Zed? The general asks, while being shocked. Zed says that he received it from Investigator Cox, while informing that he heard that showing this insignia would allow him to receive help from Imperial forces. Madden replies, saying, Oh, of course. By solemn imperial law, they are required to cooperate as much as possible with requests from insignia holders. Zed says that this isn't his personal matter. It's also about catching the perpetrator of the explosion incident. It's exactly what the local garrison should be doing. Madden announces that from this moment, Meyer's local garrison will assist Mr. Zed. Then Zed suggests that they should start by drawing the perpetrator's appearance and orders them to find someone suitable for the job. The next morning, the Imperial Army hung a picture of a person with a bounty of 50,000 gold, while telling the informants to come to the elm tree outside the south gate. Additionally, it says that if the perpetrator isn't found within 3 days, the entire city will be sealed and searched. Meanwhile, Larko, who is among the crowd seeing the bounty notice, thinks whether Zed saw his face wrong. But then he realizes that Zed must know that he uses disguise. That's why his picture was deliberately drawn wrong. Maybe he wants to meet me, Larko concludes. He leaves the area, thinking that he will know what Zed's scheming when he meets him. Larko says that he doesn't even know how many cities this makes. He is sick of being a fugitive. Maybe it's time to end this. He thinks that he has lived long enough to have no regrets left now. While walking, he sees that quite a crowd has gathered. He is about to hide among them and observe, but then he gets caught by Zed. Zed praises Larko for his professional-level disguise. He tells Larko to act naturally, or else if he arouses suspicion, soldiers will swarm him. "Who are you? And why are you looking for me?" Larko asks. Zed introduces himself as an Arahant and suggests that they change location before having a conversation. After changing the location, Zed reveals his face while informing that he is the 7th heir of the Arahant family. "If you know me, why did you seek me out?" Zed says that the reason for seeking a legendary blacksmith is quite simple. It's solely because he wants to hire Larko Chervil as Arahant's exclusive craftsman.